Hello. Hi, everyone, and welcome to Digital Making at Home. I'm Christina, and I am your host for today, and I'm going to be doing some coding with you all today in Nebraska. And I have my friend Matt. Hey, Matt, how are you doing?
Good, good. How are you? I'm in Ohio right now. How's it going?
It's good. It's good today. I'm excited to code with you today and to hang out with our friend Maimuna. Today is all about, we're going to be learning about the web. So I'm really excited because we spent a lot of time talking about Scratch. Last week we did some Python and we got a request for HTML. So thank you to you all, to our friends and community out there for letting us know what you wanted to learn about. So we're going to be talking about HTML today, talking to Maimuna, who is a software engineer here at the Raspberry Pi Foundation, and actually doing a little bit of intro to HTML. So I'm really excited about that. Now, we are streaming here, Digital Making at Home, on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch. So let us know where you are joining us from. Matt is monitoring chat. So we want to say hi. We want to hear where you are connecting with us. And I have to give a special shout out to Miriam, who has been one of our biggest,
Yep.
biggest fans from the beginning of Digital Making at Home. We're so excited that you're back, Miriam. So thanks so much for joining us today.
We got Chris already saying hi on Facebook. Thanks for being here, Chris. It's great to have you here. And Vera as well. Thanks for being here for Digital Making at Home. Vera's watching on YouTube.
Awesome. Yeah, thanks so much. Let us know where you are joining us from. So yeah, so Matt, I'm really excited about HTML because this was actually my first written programming language that I learned about. And it's what I think it's really neat. I think it just allows for a lot of creativity. This is really a lot of the base of what like websites and a lot of like how kids get started when they're like, oh, I can make a website. I can navigate a blog. Like, how could I do that? I'm curious, what's been your experience with HTML?
Yeah, so I got my start when I was a kid, and the web was pretty new. What I remember doing is opening up a website and going to view the source, and I could see the HTML that was the code which generated the website and generated that document that I was viewing. And I remember going in, changing a little thing here and there, and just seeing what difference it would make. And I would see those changes. I'd refresh the page and see those changes. That I didn't have a book on HTML. I just went in and tinkered around with it, which is still something you could do today.
Oh, I love that. I love that you just went and you were just like, let's see what things we
Let's see
can
what
change.
it's like looking under the hood of a car, right?
Yes, yes. Probably a little less like nerve-wracking though.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
just like changing up stuff. Oh, I see more folks. Bosnia.
Yeah.
Oh, Italy, Argentina.
Argentina, Philippines. Oh, it's so great to have all you. Victor, Christian, Luis, Armin, Rachel. It's so great to have you here. Thanks for being here for Digital Making at Home.
Yes, welcome, welcome.
And we have people watching on Twitch too. Manare, thank you for being here. It's great to have you coding along with us.
Yes, awesome. Well, let's jump in. We talked a little bit about our HTML experience. Let's bring the professional on. Maimuna,
Yeah.
are you there?
Yep. Hi.
Hey.
Hi. How are you guys?
We're good. We're good. Excited to have you here. In case anyone was wondering, I'm a big fan of Maimuna. We've run around Ireland together, which was amazing. Yeah. And where are you? I know you're based in Ireland, but where are you joining us from today?
So I'm actually in New York. I'm just visiting family now, and I'll be back in Ireland soon.
Oh, that's great. Like, how is it visiting family right now?
It's so great. We're kind of in the country, so it's really, really quiet, and I'm enjoying seeing all the new fall colors on the trees. It's really beautiful, and I'm glad I get to be here for it.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's something too for me. I've been in California for the last 8-9 years, and so I'm in Nebraska, and I'm like, oh wait, this is what seasons are like.
I know.
So, that's really great. Well, could you let folks know, like, what's your role at the foundation? What do you do here at Raspberry Pi Foundation?
Yeah. So I'm a software engineer at Raspberry Pi. I'm on a team called the Digital Foundation team. So my team actually works on like loads of different products that impact learners and makers and educators and events. So if some of you have looked at the Raspberry Pi Projects website, that's something I worked on. Recently, we've worked on the Coolest Project Showcase site because sadly our event was canceled in person.
Yeah.
And we wanted to make sure that everyone who worked on these projects for so long actually got to show them off. So we created a Coolest Project Showcase online where people could come and show off their projects, which was really cool.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. Shout out to the Digital Foundation team. Like that was such a big like shift and just a direct response to coronavirus and how could we hold our event in person. And you all, I know I was so impressed and so grateful that we were still able to hold that event, and like your team made that happen. So shout out. That's really neat. Well, yeah, you mentioned a couple of like sites, so I definitely want to check those out. But I want to start with sort of your journey. Like, how did you end up as a software engineer in Ireland? And I think just starting with like, what inspired you to start with computer science? To like, do you remember your first either class or experience with CS?
Yeah, it's actually pretty similar to Matt. So like my first experience was actually playing around with a blog that I had when I was a kid, and I loved like creating layouts and like changing them to like what I liked. So that was like my first experience in CSS and HTML, was me just playing around with images and colors. And then in high school, one of the teachers introduced our first programming class. So this was like, I was in 11th grade, so around 2011, which is pretty recent, I'd say. So she actually held the first programming class. It was in a language called Visual Basic. And I got to create my first game there. And that's where I really learned like the fundamentals of programming. And if you're wondering, the game was called Apples and Logs.
So I was wondering. I was just about to ask.
Avoid the logs and catch the apple.
Oh, fun.
Oh, that's great. And I love that you had a female teacher. I think that's really neat. What do you have you had a lot of female teachers as someone who's been moved on to major in computer science? Or it sounds like she was your first. What was it like having a female like educator for computer science?
So she was maybe one of 3 that I've actually had in this last 10 years. So like high school and college. So she was the only female programming teacher in high school, which I was so glad to have her, because as the only girl that was in the class, she'd make sure to check in on me and be like, hey, are you doing okay? Like, do you feel comfortable? Which really helped me feel more confident being in the classroom. And in college, I had one professor. Her name was Dr. Washington. Maybe some people have heard of her.
Where'd you go to college?
Washington. So in America, I went to college at Howard University.
Oh, okay.
So that was Howard's a historically Black college and university. So like a lot of my peers looked like me, which was really amazing, because I was coming from like a country school where most people didn't look like me. So it was really nice to have classmates and teachers that looked like me. It was really encouraging. So I feel more confident in myself, especially going out into a field that's predominantly men and white. So that really helped. And Dr. Washington was really, really amazing. And I really look up to her. And in Ireland, I had one professor that was actually one of my mentors for one of the projects, the final year projects that I did there.
Okay. Wow. So you took this class in 11th grade, and then what was it about computer science that made you decide, you know what, I want to major in this. I actually want this to be my career.
Yeah. Well, I think I was like thinking about, what do I enjoy? So like, I love English, I love writing. And I really, really loved that computer science class. It really did have an impact on me as something like, I actually enjoy doing this. So I figured, why not see how it goes in college? Nothing's ever set in stone when you first go to college. So I thought, let me see how it goes. And if I really, really enjoy it when I learn more about it. And when I applied to a bunch of colleges, Howard was one of the colleges I applied to, ended up going there. And the chair of their computer science program actually told me about a program at Google for students that maybe didn't have a lot of programming experience before college, which I definitely didn't have. And some people do have a lot of experience, which is great. Right. But, it depends on where you go to school, obviously. Yeah. So I applied to the Google program, I got in, and there we did a crash course in HTML, CSS, and Python for 4 weeks. So that definitely let me feel more confident and gave me a bit of an edge when I started college, because I walked in there feeling like, okay, I actually know how to do some of this stuff now.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. That's really awesome. Incredible to hear about. Yeah. Like having you like participate in that program. Were those students also students who were headed to Howard specifically, or were they students headed to colleges all over
Oh,
the
so it
country?
was students going to colleges in the US and Canada. So people were
Okay.
going to college in California, people were going to college in Toronto. It was like
Yeah.
really spread out.
Yeah. Are you still in touch with any of those folks?
I am actually. Some of them are still really, really good friends of mine, and
Oh.
I try and see them if some of them are in New York, we try and see them, or we try and video call sometimes.
Yeah. Oh, that's really that's awesome. And then you mentioned, so you were at Howard. How did you
Mhm.
end up in Ireland?
Yeah, like you're like, how did that happen? So I actually studied abroad. So my
Oh,
college was one that offered to study abroad, and they would just use whatever tuition or scholarship that you had to pay for where you went.
mhm.
So I ended up studying in Ireland, and the reason I chose Ireland was because one of my friends studied abroad in the UK the year before, went to Ireland for one weekend, and when she came back, she told me, "You should actually go to Ireland. I think you'd like the people a lot better." And I was like, "Okay, I trust you. Why not?" So that's how I ended up going to Ireland, and I really, really loved it there. So I just ended up moving there um, after my study abroad. Yeah.
Oh,
That's
wow. And
great.
you ended up finishing school there, right?
Yeah, I did. So I transferred colleges. I ended up staying in Ireland. Yeah.
That's that is that's so brave. I think like
Yeah.
because I think yeah, like when I just think of because you would have been what year did you study abroad?
So I studied abroad in my junior year, which was my third year in
Okay.
college.
And then
And going to Ireland because college in America and Ireland are a bit different. So in America, you get to take more classes that aren't related to your major. So I got to take like English and like African American dress studies, which was like really cool, and like sciences. Versus in Ireland, the courses that you take are really just focused on what you're studying. So like it would just be computer science classes. So I
mhm.
actually got put back into second year in college when I transferred to Ireland. But I was like, you know what? I'm comfortable with this decision. I want to be here. So I'm just going to do it.
Yeah. Did you notice differences? You mentioned like being able to take other classes, but how about
Mhm.
just in like the pedagogy of computer science and
Yeah.
majoring at Howard versus at what university were you at in Ireland?
So I was at Dublin City
Okay.
University. Yeah. I did notice a lot of differences. So like at Howard, a lot of the work was more practical. So I had programming assignments almost every day or every week. We had quizzes in class. And sometimes we'd have to program on our exam papers, or sometimes if it was in a lab, we'd program on the computer for our assignments or our tests. So that gave me a lot of practical experiences. And Howard was actually one of the first places that Google had their Googler in Residence program, where Googlers would come and actually teach us
Oh,
for some of our programming classes, which helped us, prepare us for like a real world experience.
yeah. I love that they're
Um,
called Googlers.
yeah, it was really cool. I'm very, very lucky to have gone to Howard when I did. And then in Ireland, I noticed a lot of it was more theory based. So we didn't do as many projects. It was more like learning about, okay, how do things work? How would we implement it? And then in my third and fourth year, we had final projects to do at the end of the year. So we didn't have any projects to do every week, and we didn't have projects to do every few months. It was like at the end of the year, you have your third year final project, and then you have your fourth year final project, which is what you need to, you need to graduate. So got to do
Yeah.
well.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow. Wow. Okay. That has like just hearing what I love about just hearing people's stories, but especially yours, is that your path was so different, right? Like a lot
Mhm.
of folks, they pick and choose, okay, I'm going to this school, I'm going to stay here, I'm going to do this. But for you, you're like, actually, I'm going to just go on this journey
Yeah.
and make a lot of really like life-changing decisions from like moving to
Right.
Ireland. And I
Yeah.
see like that directly impacted your work because you were then able to work with Coder Dojo and now you have a
Mhm.
role at the foundation,
Yeah.
which is really awesome. Just wanted to check in with our folks online. Let us know if you have any questions for Maimuna about her work at the foundation. What I'd love for us to jump into is some of the actually like the sites that you've worked on. So I'm
Mhm.
going to share my screen. Let's
And
go
while you're
ahead.
doing that, just shout out to Alex in Puerto Rico, John
Oh, Alex!
Richard,
Hello.
Jason,
Wow.
Josh Bora. Thank you for being here.
So
Yes.
cool.
Okay. All right. So we've got the project page up, and I know you said maybe that you've worked on this. Can you tell us a little bit about like what you did on this site?
Yeah, so the project site we actually inherited from programmers that used to work at Raspberry Pi. So it was a lot of like trying to understand what they did as people that are looking at code for the first time.
Wow.
So on this site, we actually worked on making sure that people could see where they are in their project. So like the progress of where uh, how far they've gone within the project and if they've completed any project, and then they're able to actually favorite projects so they can come back to their favorites on their dashboard.
Neat, yeah. And for folks at home, I'm on projects.raspberrypi.org. I'm also logged into my account. And this is relatively new, and it's something I'm excited about. And I've seen a lot of folks in our community because, like you said, you can now see your progress. Like I favorited some of my projects. Love Lost in Space. It's a great beginner project for Scratch. Magazine is also a really great beginner project for HTML.
Yeah.
And then you can see my progress. Finished Magazine. Nice work from me. And currently still working on Lost in Space. But yeah, what you had mentioned too, we had talked about like in some of the projects, we've been adding in different elements. So I want to bring up the Rock Band project.
Yeah, so in the Rock Band project, we actually have a reflection section. So this helps us make sure that our content is actually serving you as people that are trying to learn about programming. So in this project, we actually have a reflection section. So we just ask, how comfortable do you feel programming in Scratch? So this kind of gives us an idea of where the people are that are doing these projects, how comfortable they feel actually doing these projects.
Yeah. And I think I feel like having that moment of just reflection is such a powerful thing for both you all to get feedback and then just for the learner, right? I think this was something I brought in a lot as an educator, as a teacher, we just did this project. Whew, let's pause and breathe. Because so often we forget to actually reflect on the progress, on the work, on the learnings that we've done. And we just try and jump into the next project. But a reflection process can be such a valuable thing. So I know this one's on Rock Band. Is this on all projects, or what are you all trying to add it to the rest of projects?
Yeah, so it's not on all projects. I think right now it's only on 2 projects, Rock Band, and another one I actually can't remember the name of right now. But we're definitely going to do, we're trying to think of some work we can do in order to add, quizzes into projects to see how people are doing. And, this reflection section definitely helps the people that are creating this content to see, does this actually help people?
Yeah, awesome. Well, cool. I think there's one more. Yeah, I've got Mission Zero up. So for those of you at home, if you haven't heard, Astro Pi is another one of our amazing programs for young people. We actually have 2 Raspberry Pis on the International Space Station. I always tell folks that, like, folks don't know what we do. I'm like, we got 2 Raspberry Pis up there, and then
they're in space,
really cool.
orbiting Earth.
Space. And we have a program where young people can write code that will run on those Raspberry Pis in space. So Maimuna, I know you mentioned that you've worked on this site as well. Can you tell us a little about what you've done here?
Yeah, of course. So the Astro Pi site was a really recent project that my team worked on, which was such a great learning experience, as in like me learning a new language for this project. So we use Markdown and something called Jekyll. So Jekyll's a static site generator. So you have all your code and it goes live and nothing really changes. And Markdown was actually, so it's text to HTML, and we use that so that people who maybe wanted to edit content could easily do it as non-programmers.
Oh, that's really neat, because I didn't realize that as a software engineer, you may sometimes have to learn a new language like that. Like, what was that like for you?
Yeah, so sometimes different projects have different languages, and like, coming into, different internships or this job that I've had, some of the languages I've never even worked on before. So I never worked with Jekyll. I never really worked with React, which is another language that we use. So learning it, normally there's a senior engineer that would pair with me. So someone that knows the language a bit better than me that would explain things to me as I'm writing code, which is quite similar to what you do in the live stream. So someone would, go through and explain things to me, and then I'd go off on my own and try things. And then if I have any questions I can go back to my team or even the wider engineering team and ask any questions.
Oh, wow. I think that just sounds like a really supportive like culture around just like learning
Yeah, it
and
is.
which is I think such an important thing because I feel like a lot of times, especially when I talk with young people, they don't realize how much just community and like teamwork actually goes into coding. I think a lot of times folks are just like, okay, it's heads down coding something, but to hear that you're working with a senior engineer, you have your team check-ins, it's like a really important part of the process. And that's how we get a great website like the Astro
Yeah,
Pi,
exactly.
right?
So like anytime, we're working, people always make sure to check in, especially on new projects like, hey, how are you doing? Like, do you need any help? Or you can even, they want to make it as comfortable as possible for you to reach out and ask any help. And we also have team stand-ups every day where you can like voice any concerns that you have. If you're like, oh, I'm really stuck on this, can someone help me out?
Neat. Well, speaking of learning a new language, would you be willing to teach me some HTML today, Maimuna?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, I'm excited.
All right.
I'm going to open up Trinket.
And
So
very interesting that they did in Astro Pi Encoder Dojo, and yeah, they did it in Coder Dojo and Code Club. All these programs were doing Astro Pi and sending their code up into space.
Oh, neat. Yes. And I believe you can do that now, right? Like it is open to get started. So definitely check out the Astro Pi and check out our project site. So we're going to do a little bit of coding, just some basic intro to HTML. So if you are new like to HTML, like this is a great opportunity just to understand it, right? It's a completely new language. So we're going to actually understand this language. So I've opened up Trinket. We have a tiny URL up on the screen. And this is like an all-in-one coding environment specifically designed for education. So this is really great to use with students, with teachers in your classrooms. So let's get started. All right. What's the first thing I need to do?
Okay, so the first thing you need to do is actually add an HTML tag.
Okay.
Do that. What is a tag?
So a tag is wrapped in angle brackets, which you see is like,
These are
little
here.
brackets there, and then the ending tag would have a slash. So a tag actually is something, it's a hidden keyword and it won't be seen by the browser, but it tells the browser how to show all the content that you want to show on the page. That's between those tags.
It's kind of, this is letting it know it's like this is going to be HTML. Like this is the key here. And what I love is you may have seen that Trinket just automatically added, and it's called is it called a closing tag? Is that what it's called?
A closing tag, and that's really handy because sometimes you just forget to put the ending tag, and then your code won't work.
Right.
Yes, exactly. All right. Whew. Okay, that felt good. We've got the HTML tag. What's next?
So can you put a body tag?
Okay.
So this has an opening and closing tag, and it just would contain all the contents that are in the page, like paragraphs or images, headings.
And it did it again. It gave me my closing tag. Okay.
Yep.
So now we're going to be putting code in between those two, right? Like we're going to have, that's like you said, like all the stuff that's going to show up.
Yep.
Okay. All right.
So maybe the first thing that you want to put is actually a header. So headers go from 1 to 6. So it's H1 to H6. And usually those numbers go from, the most important tag to the least important tag. So if this is the first heading on your page, you put H1.
Oh, that's helpful because I'm always like, I don't know. Between the two.
Right.
Okay. So I can put anything. Let's just put welcome to digital making at home. Oh, it worked! Yay. It's always exciting. And I think folks should be able to see. Let us know if you want me to zoom in. What's great with Trinket is that you can change the size of your code over on the menu on the left side. So I think I have it here. So yeah. Okay. Oh, I coded.
Okay.
I was like, I do this every day.
Yeah.
I know. It's so exciting whenever anyone gets to do new stuff with programming.
Okay, what is next? I feel like I won already just because I have I'm ready for what we plan to do next.
Yeah. So the next thing that you could do is actually maybe add an image.
Okay. Ooh, that's gonna
so an image tag is just IMG in those same angle brackets.
Okay. G. You coding over there too, Matt?
Yep.
Okay. All right.
So what you want to do now is you want to use an actual image. So you want to use the keyword source, which would be actually inside the tag,
Oh, okay.
the image tag. So you go space, and then SRC is the abbreviation for source.
Okay.
And then you would use the equal sign and 2 quotes.
Oh, okay.
And then you'd put the name of the image file in there.
Okay, and let me find what that is because we on our Trinket we went ahead and uploaded an image, so it's in here. Okay, great. Win.png. So I'm gonna go ahead and put that in. Oops.
Woo!
Matt got his work.
Yeah, mine worked.
Oh yes,
Yay.
there's me. I'm wearing the same shirt. You know,
Yeah.
it's my fun coding shirt.
So if you used our special URL to access Trinket, it had that image ready to go.
Yes,
I see.
exactly.
Gotcha.
And you can always upload images
Right.
using this icon here. So now I want to change. Let me see. I want to see just what.
I love that image of you, Christina. That's so great. It looks like it just happened a minute ago.
I know that's like my reaction to life.
Yeah.
If something great happens, I'm gonna just be excited. Let's see. Okay, so I'm playing around with it because I just wanted to change the header number. So I did 3, and that made it a little bit less. Made it smaller. Is it possible? Can we change the size of the image?
Yeah, of course. So within that same tag, you would actually do kind of the same thing you did with the source. So if you want to change the height of the image, actually, because it's pretty big and you can't see it, the whole thing, you would do width, or sorry, my goodness, height. You do the same equal sign.
Okay.
And the same quotes. So this just like specifies what height you want.
Okay.
And the same thing with the source, you're specifying the actual path to that image.
Okay.
So you do height, maybe you can make it about 300 pixels. So you do quotation marks, and then you just would write 300 because the default would
Ooh, that makes
There
it
you go.
better.
Yeah, there you
Yeah.
go.
I'm liking that. Oh man, we've got a header. We've got an image.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, Miriam is asking about a doc type tag.
Mhm.
What is that all about?
So a doc type would be whether it's like an HTML document, or you can specify like what kind of document it is.
In this case, we don't need it because we know, or
Yeah, you don't need it.
okay.
All right. Okay. We've got really like a title. Welcome to Making It Home. Something I've actually always wanted to learn is how to add in like a link. So like having text at the bottom. Like I would love to have something that's just like, welcome to Making It Home. Check out all our cool stuff here.
Yeah.
Like the universal blue here. How can I do that?
So it's just not a picture on the page. So what you would do is actually add a paragraph tag. So that's just a P inside those angle brackets. It's abbreviation for paragraph.
Okay.
And that would just be normal text on a page.
Ooh, gave me my end. That's great.
Yeah.
Okay. Give myself a little space. Okay, so I can just put in some text.
And this text would be smaller than your header text because it's just regular text, not a title.
Streams here. Okay. So fingers crossed that's down here. Ah, there it is.
There you go.
Okay. So we've got that text in there. Actually, I'm going to go back. I'm going to go back to 1. I liked that. And thank you for that reminder, because I'm always like, oh, is 6 bigger? Is 1 bigger? But yeah, you said in order of priority. So it's important stuff.
So the header 1 would be way bigger than a header 3, as you can see.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Let me see. I'm going to move this over. Okay. So now what do I do? Because I want to make that here. I want to make that a link.
So to make something a link, you'd use the hyperlink tag, which is just an A inside of those angle brackets. So you'd wrap that here in those angle brackets. So you do angle bracket A, closing angle bracket. And then at the end of the word, there would be a closing bracket. So you'd put that word in the, forgot it closed it. So neat.
Yeah. So I'm going to move my here in between there. Okay.
There you go.
Yes. So you put the word between those brackets, and that creates a hyperlink, which is a link that is used to link, say, this page to another page.
Okay. So I think, what do I want? Where do I want it to go? I'm gonna.
So if you actually want to define where it goes, you go into the first angle bracket.
Okay. So like that, like go into
Yeah.
where that the first A is. Okay.
Yep. And then you would do href, which is a hyperlink reference.
Okay.
Oh, that's what href is.
Yeah.
We're learning so much now.
Equals. And then you do the 2 quotation marks.
Okay.
And then you'd put in the link where you want that
Okay. So I'll do
to go.
I'll do our rpf.io/home.
So with that word that's between the hyperlink tag, which is here, when you click it, you would go to that hyperlink reference or website.
Oh, there it is. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Moment of truth. Moment of truth.
Here you
Okay.
go.
I'm going to click on it. So this should go to the website.
Dun, dun, dun.
Dun, dun, dun. Let's see.
Oh,
There you go. Yay.
nice.
Oh my gosh. And there's us.
There we are.
Oh, we did it. Oh,
That's
yeah.
awesome.
Great job.
Wow. This is like absolute like Christina level HTML. How can we get a title, an image, and add in a link? So definitely, if you're at home, create your own.
Right.
And we'd love to see it. You can go to rpf.io/home and share your projects with us. This is great. Thank you so much, Maimuna.
You're welcome.
Thanks for being patient. I really appreciate it and helping me out with this. As sort of a last thing, as we're wrapping up, I'd love to ask you, Maimuna, for the kids out there who are watching this and who are like, oh, wow, like Maimuna's really cool, because they don't doubt it, because that's what I think about every day. And they're like, wait, like I want to do this. Like I want to be a software engineer. I want to make websites. Like what advice do you have for them?
Well, I'd say don't be too hard on yourself. Learning something new is always really, really hard. So just be patient and you'll get the hang of it in time. Another thing that I'd say is, if you're making code, whether it's in a Scratch project or HTML, you want to make sure that your code is accessible for everyone. So, some things I try to keep in mind when I'm making code is actually, make sure I include comments sometimes. So if I know someone who might not have a lot of programming experience, or someone just wants to come in and see what I did, I put some comments in to say, okay, well, this is what I was thinking when I maybe created this function, or this is what I was thinking when I put in this image into my HTML. I want to put the image in to show what I'm actually doing at Digital Making at Home.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. And I think that goes back to what it sounds like, that learning and that team like work sense of just like helping the coding community, right? It's not just about one person coding. It's actually what you're coding. Someone's going to read it later. Like someone's going to want to, like, how can what you're making be something that someone can learn from? Thank you. Yeah. Oh, I love that so much. I think that's really powerful. Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Maimuna. Like, I really appreciate you taking the time to share with us and the work that you're doing to help us on the project site, on Astro Pi, with coolest projects. Please thank your team again.
I will.
We really appreciate it. I hope you have a great rest of your day. Talk to you soon.
Thank you. You too.
Bye, Maimuna.
Bye.
That was awesome.
Oh, super cool. I made a website.
Yeah, really nice work. Nice work.
You.
And thanks to everyone who got involved as well, especially you, Miriam, who was coding along with us, and Dennis and Quinn, Paul, Carlos on Facebook. It was great to have so many people joining us for Digital Making at Home today.
Yes, thank you. It was like that. These Wednesday streams really are just such a highlight of my week, getting to connect with folks all around the world. So thank you all so much for joining us. We have another stream next week, same time. So join us for some fun coding. We'll also have a USA stream tomorrow where Matt and I will be doing a relaxing, serene scene project at 6:30 Pacific time. Sorry, excuse me, 3:30 Pacific time, 6:30 Eastern time.
And
so
if you happen to be up and awake and you're in Europe, you can absolutely still join us. You don't have to be in the USA.
Yes, yes. Welcome to everyone. We wanted to shift it so folks can join us like after work and after school in the USA. So thank you all so much. We can't wait to see you on the next stream. Have a great rest of your day. Bye.